4-3 shootout loss, your final here. The Hamilton Bulldogs losing that one to the Grand Rapids Griffins. Now, Derek, despite that loss, you can't really say it was a bad game for the Hamilton Bulldogs. They did a lot of great things tonight.
Absolutely. I think the big Achilles heel for the Hamilton Bulldogs tonight was penalties. Too many penalties against a team with a deadly power play. The Hamilton Bulldogs went 1 for 3 on the power play. The problem is they only went 7 for 9 on the penalty kill. 9 power plays to give up, too many against the Grand Rapids Griffins, and it ended up biting them in the butt. A couple of power play goals helped the Grand Rapids Griffins come from behind not once but twice. But hey, the Hamilton Bulldogs were playing on back-to-back nights to start off their 18th American Hockey League season. They pick up 3 out of 4 points, and in a game where their opponents had way more power play opportunities and way more shots for them to get a point out of this game, especially when they trailed with less than a minute left, with less than 11 seconds left, I think is pretty impressive, and 3 out of 4 points this weekend is fantastic.
Now, coming into this game, of course, it is a back-to-back game for the Hamilton Bulldogs. The Griffins had some time off. This is all part of the AHL, 2-2 nights, 3-3 nights. I'm sure they were tired, but how far can you take that excuse?
Yeah, thankfully there's no more 4 and 5 night stretches, which was outlawed by the league a couple of years ago. But I don't think it's an excuse. I think it was certainly an advantage for the Grand Rapids Griffins to be sitting here at Copps Coliseum watching the Hamilton Bulldogs play last night. They were resting, having an opportunity to scout their opponents the next night in person, and I think that certainly gives them a bit of a competitive advantage. But no excuses for the Hamilton Bulldogs. They put themselves in a position to win this hockey game. I think that they played well enough to pick up at least a point. Really could have had 2, because when you take a look at that shootout, they hit 2 goalposts. If one of those pucks goes in, maybe they extend the shootout. If both go in, they probably win the shootout. So I think a great effort. And this year's team, really resilient. And, last year's team tried, but I'm not sure that last year's team wouldn't have been blown out in a game like this. This year's team found a way to keep it close, to give themselves a chance to win, and they get a point. Not as good as 2, better than none.
And a player you've mentioned enough times, we're going to bring him up again, Akeem Aliou, getting that to take them into overtime goal. This is really what a player like him needs to make his mark on this team nice and early.
Absolutely, and I think he's been a little quiet in the first 2 games, until there was 10.1 seconds left in the third period of tonight's game, of course. But he was, in my opinion, the best player on the ice for the Hamilton Bulldogs during intra-squad games, preseason games, in a lot of practices and scrimmages as well. He really stood out. He hasn't stood out to me in the first 2 games, but getting that goal with 10.1 seconds left in the third period, his first goal as a member of the Hamilton Bulldogs, I think it's going to be a real shot in the arm for him. And he's a guy who I believe can be a difference maker for this hockey club. And the coach must have had a gut feeling about that one. Putting him out there in the last minute with the goaltender on the bench and an extra attacker on the ice, and obviously Stephan Lebeau was right. That gut feeling was right. And then he put him out there again for the shootout, and he hit the goalpost. So I think Akeem Aliou, if he can get going, then he's going to be a player who helps the Hamilton Bulldogs win some hockey games. Tonight, he helped his team pick up a point.
All right, Derek, thank you very much. And we'll see what our assistant coach had to say about this one.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, we did compete, but it was tough tonight. Second game in 2 nights against a fresh, good hockey team. And with that many penalties, we made that very difficult on us. So unfortunately, we lost a point, but at the same time, scoring the goal at the end to tie the game. Perhaps we should be happy with the points, because we had way too many penalties. We were able to kill most of them by paying the price. We had many block shots, and so the players were willing to pay, to sacrifice the body and pay the price. So that was pretty positive. But we're gonna have to find a way to be more disciplined a little bit. We're gonna have a lot of weekends with 2 games in 2 nights, or even 3 games in 3 nights. So when we play that amount of time on penalty killings, it drains you a lot of energy, and your offense suffer from that matter. So we're gonna find a solution. But it was an emotional weekend, opening ceremony, opening game Friday night. So 3 games out of 4 during the weekends. It's a good start for us. Well, we have to continue to work on execution. We want to be a team that is efficient on the ice. We want to score more goals. Obviously, special units going to be a big key. So we've been, I think, fairly good this weekend, but we need to continue to improve in that area. And so little details, finding the right combination, obviously too. But no, it's something to build on it for this weekend. Looking forward for the first road trip next week.
The Hamilton Bulldogs on the ice tonight, coming out playing Calder Cup Champs in Game 2 of the season. Overall, you still happy with their performance?
Yes.